Waking up aboard a boat enclosed in a cabin that takes water is never very reassuring. Yet this is what happened to young student Junpei. His abductor, a mysterious person named Zero, selected him to participate in the Nonary Game, a competition in which the participants are called to put their lives at stake. This is the starting point of 999, 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. The interactive novel is a genre of games that is not very common outside Japan. Synonymous of passivity or even boredom, it is often fled by the Western players. Yet on the Nintendo DS, titles such as Hotel Dusk or the Ace Attorney series have established themselves as references. 999, which has some point-and-click elements, come to join these ambassadors of the visual novel genre. The adventure takes place aboard a typical early 20th century ship. Junpei, the character followed during the story, is awakened by a detonation and discovers that he is imprisoned in one of the cabins. Very quickly, a porthole cracks and things accelerate. This is the occasion of a small tutorial on the commands in the inventory, which leads to a point-and-click gameplay section. During the investigation, a flashback introduces Zero. Hidden behind a gas mask, the deceiver kidnapped Junpei to play a morbid game, the Nonary Game. The student also noticed the presence of an electronic wristband, kind of a digital watch with a single digit, 5. With the help of magnetic cards hidden in the room, Junpei finally unlocks the door of his cell. 3. Not even close. Soon he discovered that the ship is actually a luxurious steamer in which there are quite a few people. As the title of the game suggests, the player is brought to meet 8 other captives. Each character embodies a strong personality and possesses a different charisma, a different past, and a different view of events. They all seem to have been chosen randomly by Zero and lived a similar experience to Junpei's. Only one familiar face on board, Akane, a childhood friend whom Junpei lost sight of and wears the bracelet number 6. Because yes, just like Junpei, the other participants have a numbered bracelet. Having the number of each character in mind is important, but the task is facilitated when all of them decide to use codenames related to the said numbers. For example, Ace is the character who wears the bracelet number 1. Shortly after, Zero presents the rule of the Nonary Game through a speaker. The goal is simple, leaving the ship in one piece before its sinking, scheduled 9 hours later. During the adventure, the clock of the central staircase will constantly remind the player of the approach of the final deadline, but nothing to worry about. Being an interactive novel, no time limit is actually imposed on the player, and he can enjoy the game at his own pace. Emphasis is then placed on the only 2 doors in the area, with the numbers 4 and 5 roughly painted on them. Participants are informed of the presence of similar doors elsewhere in the ship, and only one indication is given to them: find the door number 9. They follow an extremely well-oiled mechanics by imposing 2 strict rules. First, a single team of 3 to 5 people can cross the threshold. Then, when summing the values of the team bracelets, the digital root of the result must correspond to the number written on the door. No need to be alarmed, however. No math skills are required. Very early the game provides a clear explanation of the concept, accessible at any time in the inventory. To ensure compliance with these 2 rules, 2 bracelet scanners accompany each numbered doors. The first allows the opening of the door, and the second one on the other side undermines any attempt of cheating. A deadly countdown is triggered after crossing the threshold. The only way to stop it is to repeat the registration of the bracelets within 81 seconds after closing. Those who participated in the opening of the door and those who crossed it must therefore be exactly the same people. This system forces the group to divide in order to progress, so it is impossible for Junpei to explore the entire areas of the ship. Regularly, It is necessary to decide on a way to follow, and it is the sequence of the doors visited by Junpei that mostly determines the outcome of his journey. Like any respected interactive novel, several endings are indeed available. 6 to be precise, and finding them all will require to restart the game each time. Far from being a constraint, thankfully. Starting a new playthrough allows to visit areas unexplored before, by teaming up with different characters. It's also possible to speed up the narrative and dialogue phases already read, in order to directly access to the new passages. Each part is unique, and allows to further develop the psychology of the characters, as well as the scenario and the mythology that revolves around it. In addition, the originality of the title is due to the fact that these different endings are not a pretext to multiply the playing time or to avoid closing the story. There is indeed only one and true denouement, in which the reason of why the alternative endings exist is revealed and concludes with Genius the adventure. Everything is not perfect, however. The choices to be made to achieve this true ending are not the most obvious, and the player will never get the true ending from his first playthrough, even if he is following a guide. What about the actual game experience? Well, it's broken down into 2 phases that alternate during the game. There is the novel phase, in which the story progresses, and the puzzle solving sections. Most of these puzzles are based on the search and use of objects, with simple minigames. The inventory offers a 3D view of the objects, as well as the possibility of examining or combining them. Nothing original or difficult really. Junpei's partners offer generous clues when the progression proves difficult, and the story is not left out during these phases, as the player learns more about the past of the protagonists. Ultimately, this cocktail between interactive novel and point-and-click game proves rather enjoyable. 999, 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors is one of these little-known jewelry from which we emerge turned upside down, and proves once again that a video game can be an art in its own right. If you missed this game on the Nintendo DS, it's currently available on PC and Vita, and this time you have no excuse. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and why not consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching.